On top of all of the memes, the Star Wars prequels brought us tons of great characters, and I think it's about time we got one of the best back in Star Wars. Welcome to Star Wars Uplink. We've now gotten a return to Obi Wan as well as Hayden Christensen as Anakin multiple times in the new wave of Star Wars content on Disney+. And this has sparked many fans wanting the next step, wanting them to go back and reintroduce some characters that we feel like we might not have had enough time with. And I think the cameos of Anakin have been great, and it was good to see at least Ewan McGregor back as Obi-Wan. Whether or not you enjoy the whole show, it was great to see him back on the screen, taking back his place as Obi-Wan. But it does lead me to ask, who else could we see? And I think it's time for Mace Windu. Mace Windu is the fan favorite character, the one that everyone wants to see return to Star Wars, and Samuel L. Jackson said he would be down to do it. In fact, he said multiple times that he's like, hey, all these people fall off all these other areas or get stabbed and survive. I'm pretty sure that Mace Windu would survive as well. And I agree. I think that it is more than time to see Mace Windu return, and I think there's a lot of prequel fans that would be all on board of this. But what would that actually look like? How could Mace Windu return in this new era of Star Wars, past the idea of having a self-titled movie in this current day and age? As Disney looks more to the future of Star Wars movies and trying to get something out as quickly as they can, it is probably quite likely that they're going to look back at what fan favorite characters they could include in some projects. While we don't have any Star Wars Clone Wars era TV shows on the docket anytime soon, the closest would be something to like Star Wars Acolyte, which takes place about 200 years before The Phantom Menace. It could be interesting to see something in that timeline as more people are clamoring to get an idea of what a live-action Clone Wars project could look like, or even something based around that, further than just flashbacks that we see in the Disney Plus shows. What would it look like to see maybe a Jedi possibly on the run away from this new empire? What would that look like? And I think we have a character that could be the perfect person for that. Many moons ago on this channel, in fact, I did a series of YouTube shorts that was what if Mace Windu survived, and I really enjoyed it. I think there was about 16 different videos that I did categorizing his whole journey in all manner of cases, and this is definitely something that I'm all on board for. My theory at the time, my what if, is Mace Windu survives and he has to go through the journey that we've seen many other Jedi go through of surviving Order 66. While yes, it is a joke to say, oh my gosh, how many of these Jedi survived Order 66? It must not have been super dangerous if so many of them survived. I think it's fair to accept that of all of the people most likely to survive Order 66, Mace Windu would be pretty likely. And I think he is a perfect character for this because he would have this perfect growth arc. He could fall off, get saved somehow, survive, land in a trash can on an awning, who knows, or picked up by a droid. It could be all manner of things, but it could pick up right after that. He would be injured, he would need help, and he would be hunted across the galaxy. I personally would be all on board on a project like that. It would bring the nostalgia of the Clone Wars, it would bring the nostalgia of the prequels, but most importantly, it would bring it even more forward. And they could possibly tie into something like The Bad Batch or something even entirely new. It would definitely be interesting to see what they could do with the character of Mace Windu in that situation. But we also have some other options here. The second option that I would say would be something along the lines of, what if Mace Windu went through the entirety of Order 66? He went mad. He kept on going through the time period that he's in, goes through the entire original trilogy, isn't able to find enough footing to get his ground, but he shows up in the Mandoverse as a character that is both old, beat down, but has some wit and some maybe some growth that he could share with someone new. If we're going to look at this post-Clone Wars idea, we could see something even more dark and even more gritty, almost something like a Ronin-style project. This is around this idea of a samurai that has lost his master and has possibly even lost his favor or been cast off as a solo samurai. This is an idea I think is perfectly aligned with the idea of Star Wars. This is something that could be so easily translated to someone like Mace Windu as well. The reason in lore that he has a purple lightsaber is because he's able to utilize some aspects of the dark side without temptation. He's able to do something that no other Jedi has really done very well, and that's utilize the strength of the dark side in this more aggressive role while still staying a staunch Jedi. Someone who could never be tempted to the dark side. And I think that would be really cool to see in Mace Windu, this old wizened view of a Star Wars character like Mace Windu on his own escapade and his own search for meaning and revenge, or something along that line, rediscovery even, in this space. Could be quite interesting. That's how Mace Windu could fit in this post-Clone Wars era. But honestly, just seeing more Mace Windu in any other aspect really would be quite enjoyable. I personally would love to see some flashbacks, and I don't know what show it could be, or if it's just a new show we haven't even heard of, or maybe it just won't happen. But I would love to see a Clone Wars flashback to Mace Windu, that height of the Jedi, maybe even before Anakin. It could be quite interesting. I think would be fantastic to see Mace Windu back on the screen in live action. Would be very fascinating. Or even, maybe not even live action. What they could do is Tales from the Jedi or Tales of the Jedi would be cool to see a Qui-Gon Jinn or Count Dooku kind of story where it's early days for Mace Windu. Seeing some more of his experience in the Jedi, specifically in the early days, I think would be fascinating. I would love to see some young Mace Windu. Show him early on in the days of the Jedi, getting his training would be fascinating. There are many ways that they could bring Mace Windu, whether that be live action or just animated. I think would be really cool to see. But let me know your thoughts on what you would like to see in a Mace Windu return. Is it time to see the Jedi back in action with his purple blade, or maybe a different color? We'll see if he chooses the same thing afterwards. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, check out our podcast, and may the Force be with you.